Okay, so everybody, did you get a book, Joe? Nobody loves you. Craig?
Figures.
No, I was just thinking, I think you would have taken off when I did this. This was a collection made by a friend, well,
Thank you.
named Fernfield Brooks. She produced the TV show Maude, if some of you can remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, the words are powerful. Can you hear me? Or not?
Oh, yes.
The words are very powerful that we use. We have to watch them carefully. And this is very fast reading. We're going to read some of these, and then I'm going to ask you your interpretation of them. And Anne, why don't we start with making a difference?
Okay.
So look on page 3, please. Follow along.
Okay, so I'm going to actually read the quote on the side here by Thoreau.
You
as
go
well.
ahead.
So if you're looking at page 2 and 3, the quote is by Thoreau, and it says, "The question is not what you look at, but what you see." And that's really powerful, isn't it? So making a difference. As the old man walked the beach at dawn, he noticed a young woman ahead of him picking up some starfish and flinging them into the sea. Finally catching up with the youth, he asked her why she was doing this. Her answer was that the stranded starfish would die if left until the morning sun shone bright overhead. But the beach goes on for miles, and there are millions of starfish, countered the old man. How can your efforts make any difference? The young woman looked at the starfish in her hand and threw it safely into the waves. "It makes a difference to this one," she said. Isn't that powerful? I love that.
Yeah.
So my question is, what is the lesson there? Is there a lesson in that little vignette?
Yeah.
What is it?
All life is important.
All life is important.
Yeah.
Everyone counts.
And what were you gonna say?
Similar to him.
Yeah.
Similar. The Fern wrote on page 61 her interpretation. Let's look at that. It's the second paragraph on page 61. She said, "We live in a world that needs changing. It has to be made kinder, gentler, more loving. If you think one person can't make a difference, remember the young woman on the beach and the difference she made to that starfish she threw back into the ocean." These are words that really make you think.
May I say something about that
Sure.
too? When I was reading that, it reminded me of something that I share all the time, and that is, even if, because sometimes we think we have to do something big and to a large group of people, but obviously this is saying not so. Even if you just smile at someone, you could have completely changed their life. Something as simple as a smile.
And there's a lot of quotes in here about the smiling. Look on page 45, if you would. This is kind of poignant also. It's called Sam on page 45. Sam was a janitor of the local high school. He was illiterate, a fact which the local school board deplored. Finally, they informed Sam regretfully that they could not employ a janitor who could not read or write. Sam left and went to work for a construction company. He worked his way up through the ranks, and in a few years he was president of the corporation, still signing letters and contracts with an X, but making more money than all the members of the school board combined. One day at a civic luncheon in Sam's honor, the chairman of the school board was making a few remarks, then turned to the guest of honor. "Sam," he said, "you have come a long way, and we are all proud of you. But have you ever stopped to think what you would be today if you could read and write?" And Sam replied, "Sure, I'd still be janitor of your school."
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So what's the lesson there?
Don't limit yourself.
Don't limit yourself. Okay, I would agree to that. What else? Yes. Trust yourself. Craig?
Don't define yourself by other people's values.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
None of your business.
Don't judge a book by a cover is what I would think. Don't look down on people.
Right.
How many overeducated snobs have you encountered?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
A few.
Let's, Anne, let's have you read on page 48.
48, okay, I have 33 here is what you sent me, but I'll read 48.
I'm gonna
Okay.
enjoy this for
Oh, no, it is 48, excuse me. So I like reading the little paragraphs on the side here. The loudest message you can speak is the way you live your life. So this one is called Pick Up in the Rain. One night at 11:30 p.m., an older African-American woman was standing on the side of an Alabama highway trying to endure a lashing rainstorm. Her car had broken down and she was desperately needed a ride. Soaking wet, she decided to flag down the next car. A young white man stopped to help her, generally unheard of in those conflict-filled 1960s. The man took her to safety, helped her get assistance, and put her into a taxi cab. She seemed to be in a big hurry, but she wrote down his address, thanked him, and drove away. 7 days went by, and a knock came on the man's door. To his surprise, a giant combination console, color TV, and stereo record player were delivered to his home. A special note was attached, and the note said, "Dear Mr. James," sorry, this one actually chokes me up. "Dear Mr. James, thank you so much for assisting me on the highway the other night. The rain drenched not only my clothes, but also my spirits. Then you came along. Because of you, I was able to make it to my dying husband's bedside just before he passed away. God bless you for helping me and unselfishly serving others. Sincerely, Mrs. Nat King Cole." Wow. That one got me.
Words, food for thought.
Yeah.
What one word or two words describe the theme of this story?
Gratitude?
passion.
Pardon?
Gratitude, maybe?
Compassion.
And gratitude.
I wrote down a couple. I think kindness.
Yeah.
Kindness. Colorblind.
Yep.
We're all human. Okay, let's do another one, shall we? Let's, Denise Meyer, you just came in, and can you come up and read a passage? Denise, how many dogs do you and your husband have?
I think right now it's 18.
18, you think?
Moving around.
Well, I don't really take account every day, and
That's not a count, honey, that's a pack of dogs.
we just rescued 2 more a few weeks ago.
Oh, gosh.
So I think that takes us up to 18.
Well, you have been nice enough to offer to read on page 24, Puppies for Sale.
I won't promise I won't get a tear in my eye.
Well, it
I
won't be-
love this story.
24, everybody.
So good to see everybody. A store owner was tacking a sign above his door that read, "Puppies for sale." Signs like that have a way of attracting small children, and sure enough, a little boy appeared under the store's owner's sign. "How much are you going to sell the puppies for?" he asked. The store owner replied, "Anywhere from $30 to $50. The little boy reached into his pocket, pulled out some change. "I have $2.37, he said. "Can I please look at them?" The store owner smiled and whistled, and out of the kennel came Lady, who ran down the aisle of his store, followed by 5 teeny tiny balls of fur. One puppy was lagging considerably behind. Immediately the little boy singled out the lagging, limping puppy and said, "What's wrong with this dog?" The store owner explained that the veterinarian had examined the little puppy and discovered it didn't have a hip socket. It would always limp, it would always be lame. The little boy became excited. That's the puppy I want. The store owner said, no, you don't want to buy that little dog. If you really want him, I'll just give him to you. The little boy got quite upset. He looked straight into the store owner's eyes, pointing his finger and said, I do not want you to give him to me. That little dog is worth every bit as much as the other dogs, and I will pay full price. In fact, I'll give you $2.37 now and 50 cents a month until I have him paid for. The store owner countered, you really don't want to buy this little dog. He is never going to be able to run and jump and play like the other puppies. To his surprise, the little boy reached down, rolled up his pant leg to reveal a badly twisted, crippled left leg, supported by a big metal brace. He looked up at the owner and softly replied, well, I don't run so well myself, and the little puppy will need someone who understands.
Wow.
And the last comment is, we all need someone who understands.
Wow.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay. Why, in your opinion, why was the boy upset when the store owner offered the dog for free? Why did that upset him?
Because he wasn't worth anything. Little boy felt powerful. He acted like he wasn't worth anything.
It seems to me that that little story is a perfect example of both sympathy on behalf of the store owner, right? Yeah, you can have the dog for free, but also empathy from the boy, because he could relate.
Yeah.
Everybody, this book is filled with these kind of stories. Let's look on page 46, please. This is called the Trouble Tree. The carpenter I hired to help me restore an old farmhouse had just finished a rough day on the job. A flat tire made him lose an hour of work, his electric saw quit, and now his ancient pickup truck refused to start. While I drove him home, he sat in stony silence. On arriving, he invited me in to meet his family. As we walked toward the front door, he paused briefly at a small tree, touching the tips of the branches with both hands. When opening the door, he underwent an amazing transformation. His tanned face was wreathed in smiles, and he hugged his two small children and gave his wife a kiss. Afterward, he walked me to my car. We passed the tree, and my curiosity got the better of me. I asked him about what I had seen him do earlier. Oh, that's my trouble tree, he replied. I know I can't help having troubles on the job, but one thing's for sure, troubles don't belong in the house with my wife and children. So I just hang them up on the tree every night when I come home. Then in the morning, I pick them up again. Funny thing is, he smiled, when I come out in the morning to pick them up, there ain't nearly as many as I remember hanging up on the night before. Isn't that cute? Yeah, that, so how many mishaps are you gonna remember on your deathbed? I mean, isn't that the theme of this? Not to take everything so seriously. Look at the quote on the page opposite it, 47. Learn to lose as though you had won, then learn to win as though you had lost.
Yeah,
It's true, isn't it?
that's right.
Let's do one other one, and then I promise I'll leave the stage. Did we read this one already on page 50?
No.
Okay. The obstacles in our path. In ancient times, I love this one. In ancient times, a king had a boulder placed on a roadway. Then he hid himself and watched to see if anyone would remove the huge rock. Some of the king's wealthiest merchants and courtiers came and simply walked around it. Many loudly blamed the king for not keeping the roads clear, but none did anything about getting the big stone out of the way. Then a peasant came along carrying a load of vegetables. On approaching the boulder, the peasant laid down his burden and tried to move the stone to the side of the road. After much pushing and straining, he finally succeeded. As the peasant picked up his load of vegetables, he noticed a purse lying in the road where the boulder had been. The purse contained many gold coins and a note from the king indicating that the gold was for the person who removed the boulder from the roadway. The peasant learned what many people never understand. Every obstacle presents an opportunity to improve one's condition. Do you like that one?
Yes.
Yes.
Other than the message at the end, what else can one defer from it?
Well, we all make mistakes and only we know what the answer is. But that's the one thing, and everything that goes wrong, there's another page to turn to find the answer.
Well, that's an interesting interpretation, Danielle. I think you could say good things come to good people.
But also maybe everything isn't as it seems, like everyone complained about the boulder needs to be moved. And so it's also about perception, maybe.
Yeah, and again, we're back to the snobs, the rich people, oh, I don't have time for this
Right.
type of thing.
Well, they didn't need the gold anyway.
You know, I heard an expression the other day that just came to me, this sort of reminded me of two. To get on your feet, get off your ass.
Oh, I like that.
You like the book?
Love
Very
that.
nice.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.